Okay, well, let me get everything set up on my end. And hi everyone, welcome to our June 19th workshop from scraps to new veggies. We will not be holding a on Zoom workshop this week in observance of Juneteenth, but we will still have this up on the Manassas Park State Library YouTube page. I am Casey Hummeldorf. I am the Girl Scout who's been holding these workshops, getting gardening tips and information out to my community with the lovely help of the Prince William Master Gardeners and with the Manassas Park State Library. We will not be having Valerie with us today. It will only be me recording. So introduction. Already done. Presentation. I'm aiming for 45 minutes. It might be more, it might be less. Yeah. And then announcements and closing. Only around 5 minutes. I don't have that many announcements. But yeah. So from scraps to new veggies. We are going to be talking about two main types of this. We're going to be talking about composting and we're going to be talking about regrowing. So starting off, we're going to be talking about composting. So what is composting in its simplest terms? Composting is decaying organic matter and using it as plant fertilizer. So you can use really anything organic for composting. You can use eggshells, you can use vegetable or plant skins. You can use grass clippings. You can use moldy fruits and vegetables. You can even use newspaper. So how do I start composting? Sure, composting may be good for the environment, but I just don't know how to start it. Starting composting is relatively easy. So all you really need is a plastic bucket or bin. You can use something as simple as an unused trash can. If you want to do it indoors, I know a lot of stores offer outdoor compost bins. The compost bin on the right is the one that we have out in our garden. You will also want some dirt and some shredded newspaper. You especially want shredded newspaper if you're doing an in-house compost bin. The shredded newspaper will soak up any smells that the decaying eggshells, decaying vegetable scraps. It'll cover up any smells that those are producing. And then, of course, you want some dirt to start up that fertilization process. Just start getting it to decompose more. And I've read some stuff that you might also want to get some worms, because worms help with the decomposition process, although it's not entirely mandatory. Now, I want to preface this by saying composting won't look pretty. If anything, the less pretty a pile looks, the better it'll be. Again, we want this to just look like fertilizer. And fertilizer isn't pretty. The process of decaying organic matter into fertilizer isn't a pretty process. So if anything, the less pretty a pile looks, the better. Now I include this slide to show where you should put your compost when you're mulching wise, right at the beginning of the gardening season. So this photo was brought to you by the lovely people of the Prince William Master Gardeners. So you can put your grass clippings and vegetable scraps either on your green layer or on your mulch and compost layer. It really depends on if you separated your grass and vegetable scraps or if you just put it all into the compost. Yeah. And now we're going to go on to our second subtopic, which is regrowing. So we've talked about just letting your scraps decompose, but what if you want your scraps to regrow into their old plants again? Now, some plants can do this, some plants can't exactly do this. There are tons of foods that you can regrow from their scraps though. So some examples of plants that can't exactly do this are carrots. You can't exactly grow carrots from other carrots, but what you can do is grow the carrot tops and the carrot greens from the carrots. I find that even though like it isn't practical, or you don't have a lot of people say that they use carrot tops. I love carrot tops. They make great dressings if you find a recipe online. I adore them. You can also regrow things. You can regrow whole plants from their scraps, like celery, like garlic, like green onion and lettuce even. And some things about the regrowing process. It is a naturally occurring thing. Even in the right situations, right space, these regrowing processes can start and happen unintentionally. We have a lot of potato bags that we've gone through that have started sprouting. And as you can see in the photo, we've had a big sprout with this one that was completely unintentional. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen those pieces of garlic that you just hadn't used at the right time, and they started sprouting a little bit. So we're gonna talk about what can kickstart this growing process. So if you're trying to intentionally grow things, water is a big kickstarter of this process. So as you can see, these were all placed in water dishes. This is a green onion that I started growing myself. So all I did was just make sure the roots were in a thing of water, and since the green onion whites are still intact, the plant uses those whites as its nutrient source. So yeah, same thing with this celery over here. You already have the celery base to use as the nutrient provider. So then all you need is some water and some sunlight to let the celery start to flourish. And again, sunlight, water. You want to change the water every couple of days just so that it isn't completely, just so that you don't reuse the same water and you don't possibly infect your plants with anything or overwater it in a sense. Yeah, just make sure you clean out that water every couple days. Now, plants that are best for regrowing. I'm going to go over what can you do if you want plants right away and progressively get to the plants that spend arguably the most time regrowing. So plants that regrow pretty fast. Lettuce can fully regrow in just 2 weeks if you have its if you have the lettuce end or lettuce head. Again, doesn't require a lot. You need to put it in a thing of water to just let it sprout. And then you're gonna want to put it in some dirt just so it can fully flourish. Green onions only take 10 to 15 days. Green onions don't need a lot of work. You can just do what I did. I put two toothpicks on either side of it and just dangled it to where that only the roots would touch the water so it could grow. Again, you don't want to drown the roots, so make sure that it has some sort of air. And then carrot tops can sprout in just a matter of days. And so here's an example of like how fast green onions sprout. This one I just took yesterday. So this one's from June 15th. This one is from this morning. This one's June 14th. This one's June 15th. This one was just from this morning. This one was from yesterday. And it's already sprouted significantly through just the past 24 hours. Now, if you're a little more patient, these are some plants that you can grow in a matter of months. Onions can regrow as quickly as a month, but you will need the whole onion for it to grow properly, because if you only do half an onion, that risks completely falling apart. That risks the layers completely falling apart, and you just get more nutrients with the whole onion than you do with only half of an onion. Celery takes around 4 months to grow. And then garlic is 8 to 9 months, and you need to shift garlic from water into the ground. And then potatoes take 2 to 3 months to regrow. You don't necessarily have to put potatoes into water, like it shows. You just need to have like the white, since potatoes already soak up a lot of water, it already has enough water in it to start sprouting again. And on the topic of potatoes, let me make sure I'm sharing my sound. I had the lovely Erin Hummeldorf help me record how you can make hundreds of potato plants just from a handful of potatoes. So yeah.
These in the ground, okay? When you can put them in the ground whole like that, that's fine. This is all gonna rot away. But if you're making multiple plants, you need to cut them and then let the skin air dry overnight, 24 hours, because that way it seals it up from any fungus or anything like that going on, because it'll rot quicker if you stick it in the ground just freshly cut.
Okay.
So you just come along here, and all you have to do is just make some cuts. That's one plant. You just let it air dry, just like that. You got 2 here, so you just divide it. There, you got 2 plants there. This one, you can do that one there. See, it doesn't have to be big slices, because this is your new plant, and it will take the nutrients from the potato here as it grows. That is roots coming out already, and that's part of the plant. So yeah, if you have potatoes that have been forgotten about, and you can stick these in, and I think they're called tubular planters. Sometimes they sell them even trash bags. You can grow these in trash bags with just regular loose soil. All right, you gonna do this now?
Okay. And then I believe towards the end I show. Yeah, so just with those 3 to 4 potatoes, we managed to get around like 12 plants just because we cut them up. We cut up the different plants into smaller starters. Again, if you are going to do this, let the cut potato dry overnight. Just that way it doesn't, when you're planting it in the ground, it doesn't absorb any fungus or anything similar that might be detrimental to the plant or to its neighboring plants. You can also just put the potato in the ground if you want to, if you don't want to go through this cutting process, or you don't want to have a ton of potato plants.
These in the ground.
Okay, next slide. And now on to what I believe is the one you need to be the most patient with. So this year we decided to try starting our own pineapple plant. We haven't gone very far yet, since this was just a recent project we decided to do together. Pineapples can take anywhere between 16 to 24 months to grow, and it really depends on what climate you're in. Since we're in Virginia, it's going to take a bit longer, since we're not in the tropical climate that pineapples are used to growing in. It takes pineapples about 2 to 3 weeks for the roots to be developed, and then 6 to 8 weeks in the ground for the roots to fully be established. So the plant hasn't even started fully started sprouting. So it takes a while for the plant to actually bloom and produce you fruits. If you are starting a pineapple plant indoors, or if you're trying to just do one and not plant it in your yard, people have suggested planting it in anywhere between a 3-gallon to, I want to say, a 7-gallon container, just so that the roots have room to grow and your plant has room to grow too. The bigger the container, the bigger the pineapple, or the bigger the payback. So yeah, you'll just, if you are going to do this, once you transfer it to dirt, try to transfer it into anywhere between a 3 to a 7-gallon jug or pot. But yeah, and before you know it, your regrown plants will be ready for you to eat. So these green onions, these are green onion plants. I know they are a bit bigger than the ones we usually see at the store, but these are green onion plants that we actually started beginning of this growing season. So just in a couple months, they've sprouted to, I want to say, nearly half a hot tub height. And then with our green container, again, this is just like leafy greens, green onions. This is just stuff we started beginning of the growing season, and it's already sprout. Everything's already sprouted to that, and it's really easy to just eat off of them. All you need is like a pair of scissors, and you can just cut off what you want. I know my dad uses the greens from the green container to make his salads. And then I use the green onions from our large plant this year. I just cut them off and use them as garnish. And so yeah, it's really easy. It's really cheap to start growing stuff like this. You just need a little bit of patience and some water and dirt. Now, further announcements today. Again, we have had a recyclable container gardening starter kit restock. At the library, you can get your own starter kits, 3 toilet paper rolls, 3 miniature milk cartons. You'll get enough dirt to make roughly a gallon of it. You'll also get instructions on how to make recyclable pots, as well as a flyer for our future classes. These are limited to first come, first served basis, and you can only get them when the library is open. You will see them right as you walk into the library, and the staff will happily help you. If you have any questions or want to know anything about future classes. Thank you guys for all watching our 8th gardening workshop. Any questions, you can ask the Master Gardener Horticultural Help Desk. The email is provided on screen. Our next workshop is going to be on July 3rd. We're going to be talking about peppers, different types of things that can happen to peppers, what type of peppers there are, what's the growing process of peppers. And yeah, have a happy Juneteenth, everyone, and have a great Father's Day. Thank you all for watching.